Imagine waking up one morning feeling completely normal. You eat breakfast, maybe go outside to play or help your family. But by evening, you suddenly feel very sick. The next day, painful lumps appear on your body. And just a few days later, you might die. This sounds like a horror movie, but it actually happened in real life. About 700 years ago, a terrible disease called the Black Death spread across Europe. Between 1347 and 1352, it killed around 25 million people. That was about 1 out of every 3 people living in Europe at the time. Whole towns lost most of their people. Farms were left empty, and many people thought the world was ending. But here's the surprising part. Even though the Black Death was one of the worst disasters in history, it also changed the world in ways nobody expected. Let's go back in time and see how it all started. The Black Death was caused by a tiny germ called Yersinia pestis. It's so small that people back then couldn't even see it. In fact, in the 1300s, people didn't even know germs existed. Microscopes hadn't been invented yet. So when people got sick, they didn't know why. Some believed the disease came from bad air. Others believed it was punishment from God. But the real cause was something much smaller and sneakier. The disease was spread by fleas, tiny insects that lived on rats. When a flea bit an infected rat, it picked up the germ. Then, when that flea bit a person, the disease spread to them. The illness caused very scary symptoms. People got high fevers and felt very weak. Painful, swollen bumps called buboes appeared on their bodies, usually in the neck, armpit, or groin. Sometimes these bumps turned dark or black. That's one reason people started calling the disease the Black Death. And sadly, many people who caught the disease died within just a few days. The plague didn't start in Europe. Most experts believe it began far away in Central Asia, possibly near places that are now part of China or Mongolia. At that time, traders traveled long distances to sell things like silk, spices, and other goods. They used famous trade routes called the Silk Road. But along with these goods, something else was traveling too. Rats on ships and caravans carried fleas infected with the disease. As traders moved from place to place, the plague slowly spread across continents. In 1347, trading ships arrived in a port city in Italy called Messina, on the island of Sicily. But something was very wrong. Many of the sailors on the ships were already very sick or dying. Some ships even arrived with almost everyone on board dead. People in the city were terrified. They told the ships to leave the harbor immediately, but it was already too late. Rats had already climbed off the ships, and the fleas carrying the disease came with them. Soon, the plague began spreading through the city. And then it spread to other cities, and then to other countries. In the 1300s, cities were very different from today. Streets were dirty. Trash and waste were often thrown outside. There were many rats everywhere. This made it very easy for the plague to spread. People also traveled a lot between towns and cities for trade or work. Each time someone traveled while infected, the disease spread to a new place. Within just a few years, the Black Death had spread across Italy, France, Spain, England, Germany, and many other parts of Europe. In some areas, half the population died. Imagine living in a place where people are dying faster than they can be buried. That's what life was like during the Black Death. Graves filled up quickly. Sometimes large pits were dug where many bodies were buried together. Church bells rang all the time for funerals. Families were so scared of getting sick that some people even left their own relatives behind. Some villages became completely empty because everyone who lived there had died. The fear was everywhere. Since nobody understood what caused the disease, people tried many strange ways to cure it. Doctors wore famous plague masks with long beaks. Inside the beak, they put herbs or flowers. They believed the nice smells would protect them from the disease. Other treatments were even stranger. Some doctors tried bloodletting, which meant cutting the skin to let blood out. Others used potions or strange medicines. Unfortunately, none of these cures worked. People simply didn't understand germs yet. But something very interesting happened after so many people died. Before the Black Death, most people in Europe were poor farmers called peasants. They worked on land owned by rich nobles and had very little freedom. This system was called feudalism. But when millions of people died, there weren't enough workers left. Farm owners suddenly needed people to work their land. Because workers were now rare, surviving peasants could ask for better pay and better treatment. Some even moved to different places to find better jobs. Slowly, this started to change Europe's entire economic system. In a strange way, the Black Death helped weaken the old feudal system and opened the door for new opportunities. Even after the first big wave ended around 1352, the plague didn't disappear completely. Outbreaks happened again and again for many years. But Europe was never the same. The huge loss of life caused big changes in society, jobs, and the economy. People also began thinking more seriously about medicine and science, trying to understand how diseases really work. Over time, these changes helped lead to new ideas, discoveries, and learning that later became part of the Renaissance, a time when art, science, and knowledge began to grow again. So the Black Death was not only one of the deadliest diseases in history, it was also an event that changed the world. In just 5 years, around 25 million people died, but the effects of that disaster reshaped Europe for hundreds of years. If you enjoyed learning about this amazing and shocking moment in history, you'll definitely want to watch the next video about the deadliest pandemics that changed the world. And if you like learning cool history stories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you never miss the next one.